wants to gratitude, share some wins? Would love to have you jump in, please.
Spencer and I have one, not to jinx it or speak too soon, but we've been really on sending home equity reports out to everybody. And now we have a listing appointment due to one. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all goes well there, but good news so far.
Walter says, don't ask me anything. Well, congrats, team. Great job. That's awesome. Listings are the name of the game. And I'm certainly going to jump into some lead conversion and how I tackle leads from listings in a little bit, which is super cool. Anybody else want to share something before we kind of jump into things today?
So I had a question for Em and Spence. Home equity reports. We did something in January like that. I'm just curious. What was your positioning on sending that out? Was it, hey, market's changed and equity might be greater than you think? Like how did that content look? How did you do it? What medium did you use in order to send that out?
So we actually have a monthly one. So it updates every single month. So we kind of went into it where it sets one up for itself and we go in and actually look at the comps and make sure that it's there. And then every single month it sends through to the clients. So if there's any updates or anything when it comes to that, and then everything just gets updated that way and people can contact us. It directs to our website as well. So kind of get some website traffic instead of just being hosted on a random platform. It's going to our website.
And how long have you been running it for, Emily?
A few months, I would say. I think it was around September-ish where it actually began. We've just been implementing that and bringing in more and more people whenever Spencer has those conversations. So we kind of bring those in. And then just this week, I sent another 40, I believe. And that's how we got some more clients asking about the value of their home. So it kind of leads into Spencer being able to meet with them and expand on that actual report, but it's a start.
Yeah,
Is
for
this
sure.
Spencer, was this the stuff that you were talking about that's built in and baked into Follow Up Boss?
He said, don't ask him any questions.
How? Well, Emily, there's that.
He's on the town hall call. He's done.
Yeah, he's got some audio things. But yeah, it's being sent through Follow Up Boss with some campaigns. Yeah.
So for all of those that don't use Follow Up Boss, Spencer and I had that conversation. Actually, Em, I think you and I had that conversation too back in that time, and that is home beat, and that is it's baked into Matrix. So if you're not familiar with home beat, look into that today.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I appreciate everybody jumping on here today. If you're on this call, it means you're looking to, better yourself, take your business to the next level, learn a thing or two, and just collaborate, contribute. And I think as Mike has said, I think it's been an interesting year. We had this little spike in sales in the market, and then it kind of just came right back down pretty quickly. So we're all trying to figure it out and navigate it. Also, another reason why it's good to get on these calls and talk about that, what we see, market trends, so forth. But today we're going to do a little bit of mindset. Andrew's going to jump in and he's going to talk about some ways to lead generate right away. I'm going to talk about a real life scenario on how I navigate online leads, specifically from listings, and hopefully you guys find some value in it. But I wanted to kick things off with a quote that I actually just heard. I think it was yesterday, but are the habits you have today on par with the dreams you have for tomorrow? And it was from Sean McVay. And I think, Greg, maybe you could help me with this one, but is he the Vikings coach, football coach, maybe? Anyways, are the habits you have today on par with the dreams you have for tomorrow? And it really made me think about things. And everyone on this call or that's going to be watching the replay right now has the physical ability to be whoever it is that they want to be. And some people, unfortunately, don't have that blessing. Although we all have our own issues we deal with on the inside, at least those feelings we can learn, and we can learn to control as well, too. If that makes sense. So the point remains is that the only thing that we can actually control is our actions and our thoughts. And I think that a lot of us battle with taking action on a lot of things that we want to take action on, but we also battle with their thoughts daily. I, for one, do. I have my good days, I have my bad days. So what I also want to ask next is, do I have everyone's permission on this specific call to kind of maybe go a little bit deeper, a little bit grittier than I normally do on a call? Is that okay? And again,
Absolutely.
thank you. And again, like this is we're trying to grow together. I think even preparing for this call helped me out with a lot of things. This experience that I've been experiencing the last 30, 60, 90 days. And then I can hope I can contribute to you guys and helping you through some things as well too, leading into Q2, right? We have the next 90 days are big for our business. It's the spring market. It's just opened up. It's kind of like a make or break. If you have a really good Q2, you're in good shape. If you have a bad Q2, you're going to be, trying to catch up for the rest of the year. That's the reality of it. So I appreciate you giving me that permission. I'm not speaking to anybody directly on this call. I promise you that. I'm speaking to all of us as a team, as an organization. If it ever at one point does feel like I'm speaking directly to you, maybe take a step back and think about why you're feeling that way. That's probably a good thing to have an understanding of, okay, maybe I feel like he's talking directly to me. Maybe I should really take this information and think about it a little bit deeper. What I'm personally witnessing right now is way too many people in this world not wanting to put in the work to succeed and be successful. And that's outside of our industry too. That's everywhere. I'm seeing it literally everywhere. Greg and I talk about this all the time. Nobody wants to work, right? We've had it pretty good. I mean, last year was a tough year, but at the same time, we've had some really, really, really good years of real estate. If you've been in the business 5, 6, 7+ years, we've had it good for the better part of a decade. I want anybody though to raise their hand right now if you absolutely believe without a shadow of a doubt that you are doing everything you can right now to hit your goals this year. If anybody feels that way, raise their hand. I see Greg's hand and I would agree with him on that. I can't see everybody and I'm sorry, but my hand also didn't go up. But that's something that we need to be like, okay, we now realize that we're not doing everything we can. If we're on track of our goals, that's great. If we're off track, what can we be doing better? What daily activities should we be implementing into our business? But the reality check is life is hard. That's the reality. Life is hard. It's rarely easy. Hitting our goals is hard. Being consistent is super hard. Everything we're doing is actually really, really hard, right? All the easy stuff, everybody can do it. So it's not really actually fulfilling and worth doing in most cases. But what I do know is that it's a lot harder and your life will be a lot harder if you don't hit your goals rather than working hard to hit your goals. Would everybody agree with that? It's a lot harder to not hit your goals than it is to hit them while working hard. So many of us spend so much time, so much energy and get ourselves so frustrated searching for the easy way to get what we want. We do. I mean, should we be efficient? Absolutely. When in reality, if we just accept it though, that everything worthwhile is hard, it makes that path so much easier to navigate, right? If we just accept it, that life is hard, like this is going to be tough, but I need to mentally get into it right now. I'm going to be able to do this. It's going to be hard though, but I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to commit. It's going to be easier for you mentally and probably physically to navigate through. So what do I see? Well, I'm actually fortunate enough now. A lot of us are certainly not all in the same group or at the same brokerage, and that's okay. But I am able to see a lot of back end data. And this again is just to bring awareness to what I'm seeing is that would you all agree that last year was a pretty tough year? Like sales were way down. It was a tough year. Most people sold fewer homes for the most part. That's just the actual data. I'm not saying everybody did. But I'm actually seeing this year that from specifically what I can see is that sales are actually worse than last year. That's just what I see, and I'm just bringing awareness to it. And so I think if we can bring awareness to that, myself and everybody else on this call, we can really take a step back and say, well, what can we do to improve our leadership? What can we do to improve the content that we're putting out to help you build your business, to help you sell more homes, to help you grow, to help you do whatever it is you want with your business. That was a good awareness for me as well too. And so I'm going to dive into that a little bit further in a minute too. What we are going to do though is we want to find who wants to commit, who wants to be consistent, who wants to go all in with us, who wants to be more productive, who wants to grow exponentially. And we're going to go all in on those people. But we're going to find out who actually wants to do that, who's ready to commit to it. And we're ready to take our leadership and our organization to the next level. And we've had a lot of conversations lately around that, and we're ready to take action. So that's what we're going to be looking for coming up. And I hope you are all open to that for sure. Any questions about any of that, guys? We good? Sweet.
So this isn't a question, but just to add to your doing hard things and some of the mindset about it. When you first, one of your first sentences you said was that everyone has the ability, what was it? Everyone has the ability to be the person that they want to be. So it made me there's this book called the Alter Ego Effect. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's not worth buying the book. Just listen to the TED Talk. But there's a guy named Todd Herman, and he basically talks all about how to be like the best version of you relative to who needs to show up at that time. So it's not as simple as just being, you know, Mike is a different person when he's with Jill than he is when he's with a seller than he might be when he's with a first-time home buyer. It's the same Micah, but he just has to be able to present himself differently. And it talks a lot about that. So for example, you know, it gives a lot of anecdotal stuff with, you know, and some research with it too. But, you know, for those of you that don't know, like Beyonce really struggled hitting the stage when she first started in her career. So she had an alter ego, Sasha Fierce, for anyone that doesn't know that. Um, David Goggins is one. You know, David Goggins refers to himself as somebody different. Like Goggins is not David Goggins. Who's the other one? Kobe Bryant, you know, the Mamba mentality is basically taking a persona. So it's this idea of when you've got something hard, you know, just being conscious of bringing the version of you that's best to tackle that makes all the difference. Even with kids, like some of the research around kids, they have these kids, you know, either they get to choose. They can either imitate or dress up as Dora the Explorer or Batman. And the ones that, you know, that don't dress up or don't even pretend, they give them, you know, a very challenging task. And basically they just measure how long they're willing to spend on time on task. And the kids that pretend, that embody the idea of being, you know, Batman or Dora the Explorer, you know, work longer. And those that actually dress up in costume work the longest. So some pretty cool stuff there. But I just thought it was a good compliment to what Brandon was saying there in terms of, you know, that everyone has the ability to be the person that they want to be, and yeah, and how that can help you kind of rise to the occasion.
No, I love it.
One thing, Brandon, I didn't answer when you asked who Sean McVay coached for. He coaches the Rams, but the one thing is what Mike and Andrew kind of let off with their gratitude about proximity. And Brandon obviously didn't know this when he chose that person as the person, but that literally he is the product of the maybe one of the best examples around of being in proximity. Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. So Kyle Shanahan's the coach of the 49ers. McVay's the coach of the Rams. There are 7 other head coaches in the NFL that have all come from Mike Shanahan. And his coaching tree, it's actually insane. There's about like another 45 coordinators. So it's like very back to that point of what Micah and Andrew kind of kicked off with, is being so grateful to spend that 6 hours together. And the more and more that you can do that with the people that you're trying to, of your best 5, and I actually have moved that to my best 10 because I want more capacity. I've changed that 5 rule to my best 10 rule this year. So I want more capacity. I want more contribution from different sources in my life, on a less intense basis, because I've really tightened on that top 5 for a long time. So anyway, that's a really good example of being within proximity allows you to collapse time. Those guys are the 2 youngest coaches in NFL history too, just for something else.
Crazy. Well, I'm glad I brought that quote up. Does anybody want to take a kick at the top 5 habits of the top 1% performers in the world? What would be those top 5 habits? Does anybody want to take like a wild ass guess at what they might be?
Early risers.
Okay.
Readers.
What was that, Leslie?
Readers. People who read.
Yeah, cool.
Consistency.
Yeah, I like all these answers. So this is
Self-motivated.
Before they leave their house.
Oh, what was that? Dylan, I think it was you. There's a few people.
Yeah, I said they make their bed before they leave their house.
Okay. Those are all
Self-motivated.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it all. Like those are all habits you should definitely all have in addition to these ones as well too. But so this is in order of number 1 being remarkable boldness. So it's like a brave and confident way of behaving that shows no fear. So remarkable boldness would be number 1. So maybe you have some fear, but you have a confident way of behaving that shows like you don't. Like you're super confident. You get in there. I mean, I've showed up to appointments a little bit, nervous and fearful, but I got to show up. I got to walk in there like I'm not, like I'm the confident agent that buyer or seller is looking for. If that's one example of our industry. But remarkable boldness. Number 2 is intrinsic motivation, which means the doing of an activity for its inherent satisfaction. So doing it because you're getting satisfied with it rather than like the separate end result. So maybe I like the process of working with a new home buyer and I'm not doing it just for the end result, which would be that commission check. You really love the process. So intrinsic motivated. You're more motivated than the money, as an example. That's number 2. So remarkable boldness, intrinsic motivation. Connection is number 3. They treat everybody like family and they make people feel like they are their family. And I think that's one of the biggest skills probably in our business that we can get really, really either good at or really are actually good at and care the most about is building connections across the board with consumers, buyers, sellers, anybody that we real estate agents, building connections. Number 4 is grit and resilience. So grit is about the sustained, consistent effort towards a goal, even when we struggle or temporarily fail. And then resilience is our ability to bounce back after we struggled, faltered, or failed. So it's the consistent effort, even when things aren't going great. That's grit. And then your ability to bounce back when they don't go great. And I mean, how often in our business do things not go perfectly? Every fucking day. Let's be serious, right? So grit and resilience, and you grow some pretty thick skin when you have experienced a lot of those things that don't go so well in our business. A lot of that does come with experience. So, somebody who's been in the business 1 year might, I remember some of the things I went through in my first year of business and I took them so personally and I couldn't sleep at night. And as things now, 11 years later, I'm like, that stuff happens every day. And it's just, in 1 year at the other, not that I don't care because I do, but it just bothers me less and I can bounce back in 5 minutes rather than 24 hours. And finally, number 5 is the ability to lock in and see everything through to the conclusion. So lock in, but see it to the finale, to the conclusion, to the end. And how oftentimes do we start something, we don't finish it all the time. So again, to remarkable boldness, intrinsic motivation, connection, grit and resilience, and the ability to lock in. So I can share that when I post the recording. I'll put those in there so everybody has them as well too. But one piece of advice I have for everybody on this call, and again, who ends up watching the replay, start the process. You don't have to have it all figured out. Get in the game, create your own luck. You didn't come this far just to come this far. And don't listen to what other people are saying you should do. Like, everyone is full of shit for the most part. No one but you really knows, what you're capable of doing. Like, we can see potential in people and what what your skills are, but at the end of the day, it's you best. The hardest decision in life is trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. And most of you have chosen real estate as a full-time or part-time business. So you need to wake up every day with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and work towards your goals. I mean, the best book, and you've probably seen me post it or talk about it somewhere. I just put a post in last week on Instagram, but it's Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick Bet-David. And there's a lot of business related information in there, but the concept of the book is find an enemy, put some grit on you, choose your enemies wisely. So you have a little bit of, that prey drive in you to wake up every single day and connect your why to your goals and get out there and absolutely crush it, even when you don't want to. So, like I said, I did make a post last week about my work anniversary, and I added a few words to the bottom of it. And those words came from experience of making bold moves, setting big goals, taking action, winning, failing a lot. You name it, I've pretty much experienced it over the 11 years I've been in the business. Have I experienced every scenario situation? Absolutely not. I'll experience some new things coming up. But I've been through a lot, and that just comes from experience and doing what I just said and making those bold moves and decisions that I'm like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but I'm going to do it. But also being able to take action on those decisions as well too. But here's what I said at the bottom of it. But here's what I do know. No one is out there coming to save or rescue you. The decisions you make are your sole responsibility, and you, and only you, must face them head on whether you like it or not. So keep making uncomfortable decisions and big moves that most won't understand. Your success will be in direct proportion to the amount of pain that you can withstand. Get out there, bust your ass, be consistent, and great things will happen, but you have to really want it. It's like anything in life. Someone can tell you, you should do this, you should do that, you should quit this, you should start that. But unless you personally really want it, that's only going to take you so far. Like, you wanting to do it for even your family member, if you don't want to do it, it's only going to take you so far. So, maybe take a step back today and ask yourself, do you really want this? Do you really want this business? Do you really want to hit your goals, to create that lifestyle by design that we've all, built up in our own heads, in our own mind, maybe written it on our vision board? Do you really want it? And you have to ask yourself that and be honest with yourself. So I'll move in now. That's it. I just wanted to kind of really set the tone for a good mindset for a good Q2. Anybody have any questions about any of that or add anything to it before I move on to a little bit of lead generation stuff? If not, I'll jump right into it. No problem. Sweet. Yeah.
I did have one thing, I think, before you get into lead gen, and I did this with my team today as an exercise, and Andrew and I mean, anybody that's been to a kitchens coaching has probably done this exercise, but I thought this exercise was really, really good from a motivational perspective and just more of a mindset, which was, where's my money? Right? Sounds kind of harsh, but identifying in the next 90 days where your money's coming from, right? Write out all of your leads that you have for 90 days and then put an associated commission amount to it. Because we all struggle, to your point. We struggle to show up every day. We struggle, some of us struggle to make our fucking bed every day. But if you put a $30,000, associated cost to that lead, guess what do you think you're going to do? You're probably going to make that call, right? So when we start putting a direct line to associated value, now our calls are a lot easier to make. So something that is just so simple. So write down all of the ones within 90 days and then post 90 days. It's got that farm, like that more farming versus what's immediate. And that is which Kitchen's called Where's My Money? And we did it as a team today in our team meeting, and it just identifies. It's not necessarily, hey, what are we expecting and where the money's, how much we have. It's all more on the mental side of like, hey, if I just pick up the phone today and I show up and I start dialing, there's 180K just waiting for me. So just, something that is a really cool exercise. If you want me to send you something like that, I can send you the actual spreadsheet for it. I'll, happily send it to you. Just send me an email or text me.
Love it. Where's my money?
Where's my money?
Where's our money, guys? Where is it? Cool, man. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so again, Andrew's going to go through a little bit of lead gen stuff. Like it's just very simple things that you can implement that can shake the trees a bit. I'll go through just a scenario, online list a lead from a listing of mine, and ultimately, it's a potential buyer that wants to see a property. Okay, we all get those. We all handle them a certain different way, and I think that there's right ways, wrong ways, better ways, worse ways, whatever. But certainly, I think you can be intentional with these type of things. Ultimately, at the end of the day, so I'm not veering away from this. Ultimately, you want to try and set a buyer consultation prior to showing anybody any homes, for many reasons. One, to articulate your value. Two, to qualify that buyer. You're not wasting your time. You're not wasting the seller's time, right? So ultimately, I'm not trying to veer away from any of that for clarity. And we have some awesome buyer training that we just recorded, and we're going to get access everybody to that soon, just so you can kind of see our process, what works for us and what we do. But I went through that. They kind of wanted to, I guess what I was engaging was they wanted to almost get to know me a little bit, maybe test me out a little bit. I followed all the TRESA rules of certainly talking about the RICO guide, and I sent that to them, and they acknowledged it. They didn't know if they wanted to basically represent themselves or if they wanted to work as a client. So we made sure that everything was in the right order. But what you can do is be intentional with that type of showing. So first off, what I did is I got that all set up. I got my showing booked. We got them, excited about meeting at the property. One thing I always do too, because especially if they're not a signed client, is I gave it a little bit of time before I asked this, but I said, hey, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, are there any other properties that you would want to see when we go out to see this, to see 123 Main Street? The reason I always ask that too is because sometimes they've already gone out of their way and set up another showing with another listing agent, so you can get that canceled and you can make sure that you can take them out. But you also want to be efficient with your time, because you could get there and they might say, well, I wish we saw 456 Main Street too. Well, you can do that all at the same time. And it actually gives you more time to establish yourself, your skills, build more rapport, all that kind of stuff. So I always like to make sure that I'm the only one taking them out. And if there are other properties of interest, we're taking them out to that too. So I do all that. I always make sure, I did wash my car because it's a beautiful sunny day. I want to show up there like a professional. You show up at the house, I was at least 10 minutes early, because even if they're early, I want to make sure I'm there ahead of them. So I'm there. It's a nice day, so I can be outside of my car. I'm waiting there. I'm dressed professional. I'm standing there professional beside a super clean car. And they show up, right? So you're already leading off with a good first impression. I always like to, before we go into the house, stand on the driveway and I'm speaking to them as long as I possibly can without going into the home. Of course, if they're on a time crunch, we need to find that out right away. So I ask that, hey, are we on a time limit here? Like, do we have to get in and out? If they say no, you're good to go. But I'm there, I'm breaking some ice, I'm building some rapport. This is in my hometown, so it's a little bit easier to talk about, but I'm certainly setting myself up on a stage that I know the area, that I've been established there for a long time. So I'm building credibility up about myself without being like, hey, I sell the most homes and all that crap that nobody really cares about for the most part. But set yourself up as that professional. You can do it, by being funny. You can do it by being emotional. You can do it by being vulnerable. but immediately connecting with them. You could take it another step further too. It's completely up to your style. I really don't like being salesy. Most people don't. Everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold. So it's really whatever you want to take it. Like you could create a script like, hey guys, I honestly hope you're having the absolute best day, sir. Stephen, right? Am I pronouncing your name right? Awesome. I love your jacket. Right? Complimenting. Again, my name's Brandon. I'm here to give you world-class service. I'm here to serve you and your family at the highest level. And I know those things are important to people that I've worked with in the past, right? You can say salesy stuff, but not in a salesy way, right? So now they're like, oh man, this guy's a pro and he wants to actually help us. Cool. That's good. Tell them what to expect from you showing the home. People want to follow along and they want to know what to expect, right? They want to follow that path. So I always tell them, guys, I'm not here just to open the door. I'm honestly here, like I said, to provide you with a level of service to prove myself as a realtor, that I do have a process. And so what to expect when you go inside, I'm going to tell you every single detail about the home. I'm probably going to start with some details outside. We're going to walk the property. You're going to spend as much time as you need, both inside and out. What I appreciate at the end of it, give me some feedback, whether it's good, whether it's bad. I can take that to the seller. And at least now you're establishing some type of process and what they can expect from that too. Most importantly, though, you need to deliver on that promise that you're giving them. And that's very simple to do. If you're going to tell them you're going to do something, just fucking do it. Like, it's very simple, but the reality of it is a lot of people don't. If you're going to tell them you're going to do something, just do it, okay? So we've gone through the homes. Things are going really well. I'm talking more about, I'm getting very curious in the home. I want to sell that home, of course, but we all know that they don't buy the first home they look at, and it's not always the one for them too. So you still need to get curious. They need to know that you actually care about their scenario. I ask as many questions as I possibly need to get as much information about them and their goals as possible. We ended up going to look at another home. They said no originally. They said, you know what, let's go check out this place on Walton after. That was a good one to compare to my listing to. So basically they were able to check some boxes off, but I got some more time to go around with them and spend some more time with them. So that's a good thing because they may have looked at that property. I don't have them signed yet for full clarity. They haven't decided how they want to act and be worked with yet, if at all. But leave them then with an actual takeaway and a call to action. So I've done such a great job, but I could say, all right, guys, great. I'm so glad you came in. Have an awesome day. Call me if you want to buy the home or whatever that looks like, right? It's terrible. You want to be very intentional with your words, with your call to action, with what you want to do. So I always have a seller basically guide with me so I can give them, and it's our process. It just shows a little bit about who I am as a realtor, who I am as a person. And it has some information on me so they can take that away. So when they drive out the driveway, now they're sitting there, they're looking through it, they're connecting myself with more information. I'm building more credibility for myself. They have something to take home. They have all my information on it. And it's very professional. It looks very professional, all that kind of stuff. But with these people, and timing is also everything too. So if you're just jumping in and being like, hey, I'd love to come list your home, it's not going to work. Time. Would you all agree? Right? It's not going to work. But hey guys, I appreciate you going through and taking your time, spending some time with me going through these two homes. I know your time's the most valuable thing, especially during your lunchtime. So thank you for giving me that. It sounds like you're just kind of starting this process, and I can appreciate that. What I find, people that either are thinking about working with me or are already working with me, what I find valuable, and trust me, you don't ever have to work with me. This is just a suggestion. What people find valuable is I could come over, I could take a look at your home, I can give you some inexpensive recommendations, I can tell you what not to do, most importantly, and of course I'll give you an evaluation on your home. So then you can take that number, and it's probably going to be easier for you to make a decision on what you're going to purchase. Would you find value in that? What do you think they said? Nobody's going to say no to that. They might not say yes to an appointment, but they're going to find value in that. And so they said, we absolutely would. Why don't you just let us think about it, Brandon, for a little bit, and we'll get back to you. And the truth is I could push a little bit further there, but I knew that I had done such a good job with the first bit of that appointment of building rapport that they were going to get back to me. And guess what? 2 hours later, they sent me a text, Brandon, we'd absolutely love for you to come over to our place, give us an evaluation. and I'm 100% going to get that listing. That's just how I operate. And some of the things that work, some of the things that I say that work for me, again, everybody's different. It could be right, it could be wrong. But it's just about being intentional, right? We could be busy or we could be productive. I choose productive every single time over being busy. It feels good to get out with people, but if there's no opportunity there, or we're not asking for the business, or we're not articulating our value while we're out there with a potential prospect, we're leaving deals and we're leaving money on the table and we're wasting our time. And we know how much it sucks to waste our time. So, anyways, that was just a very live scenario, just happened 2 weeks ago. That stuff happens all the time. That's how I tackle them if I'm not able to sign them before going out. But that's just hopefully some valuable information. Do you guys have any questions about that scenario, specifically that one?
I just want to comment that from like the top 5 things that you said, connectors like a big one. Connection, you said, right?
Yeah.
And Andrew talks about how you and I are connectors, and Micah's very much like that. Jen's like that. And that's how we've built our business. A lot of other people in this group have built their business in a lot of different ways. And Andrew, what are you, a minder, a grinder? Which one are you? Are you both?
No, I'm more of a minder.
Right.
Yeah.
So
A little more introverted.
Right. So Andrew's more introverted. So he always is like, oh yeah, Greg walks into a gas station, he's gonna set an appointment, right? And like that happens. So that's like Brandon, the whole alter ego, and to tie it back to what Andrew had said and what Brandon had kind of said before with connection, is like that alter ego, like when Micah and Brandon, especially both of them, they're both I think everyone in here will agree that they're both more polished than me. And Micah and Brandon compliments Micah about this all the time, and tries to learn from Micah about how polished he is. And so it's like it's not that they're changing themselves, but it's like you have to kind of take yourself up that level with that alter ego in order to get that result that normal Kobe didn't think he could do it. So he's just like, oh, but I know the Black Mamba can do it. Right. And that's like the whole thing. And so when Brandon's saying this shit, guys, it isn't just a script. Like, this is not just a script that he's like giving you the best stuff. He's like, that's what he's saying actually, in order to collapse that time. And Micah does a really good job of it too. It builds a lot of trust when you lead as an absolute pro from the beginning.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're 100% right there. The ego component is there. What I think most people don't realize is the chameleon approach is what I've always taken. And you need to understand your end user or your client. Like, if I show up in a 3-piece suit to 60% of my clients, they're nervous. They're like, what are you doing? Like, were you at another meeting prior to this? Because you
Show me your tattoos.
Yeah, you did. Well, and yeah. But to be honest, that took me 2 years, almost 3 years in my business before anybody saw any of my tattoos, right? Because I was nervous that, and what I wanted to produce and what I wanted to provide, and the brand that I needed, that I believed I needed in order to be a certain level, was a 3-piece suit and very polished. But that also comes from tech, and a lot of my previous clients were from tech. So, understanding that you have to be a little bit of a chameleon, understand your end user. Yeah, if I don't know you, the odds are they're going to be in a clean truck, in a press suit, and you're going to get a lot of our content that's already pre-produced. But if I've known you since grade 8, I'm probably going to swear a little bit more when you all know me, right? So it's just becoming the chameleon and really associating yourself and surrounding yourself with, and producing yourself, if you will, to align with the client at the time. So
Big time, man. Yeah, and I think again, too, the most important thing there is you're saying these things, and there's a method to the madness you're taking them down the steps towards the final, like, all right, am I going to ask for this appointment? Am I going to ask them to be a client? But like, sometimes there's 4 steps, but sometimes there might be 24 steps, right? So it's you really just need to get curious about that specific person. Some people like to talk more than others, right? So I'm just asking questions. I'm listening. Okay, what did you say? Perfect. All right, this is going to be next. And it's so we have, yes, we have things that we say, but it's not a step-by-step script. You can't be waiting to say the next thing because it's not going to sound natural. And as soon as it doesn't sound natural, they're going to think that they're being sold. And as soon as they think they're being sold, they're gone. So that's my biggest piece of advice there is just actually, I'll say it a million times, just be curious, ask questions, figure out their specific scenario. Everybody's different, and you'll have a lot more success in this business, guaranteed. Andrew, I didn't leave you a ton of time.
That's all right. That's all right. We can move through it quick. Yeah. So I put together a list of just four things. Brandon asked what I do to kind of shake the trees to see what we can get to fall out. So just four things that almost anyone could do. Whether you have no past clients, few past clients. Because only 3 years in this business. Like I want to say my past clients now are only like 50, 55 or something like that. So I'm still trying to build that list. Pardon me.
55% of your business, is that what you're saying?
No. Like 50, like 55 past clients,
Oh,
55
sorry.
people.
Okay, yes.
And maybe it's actually maybe it's over 60. It's over just over 60 now. But yeah, so like obviously it's, depending on where you're at, how long you've been in the business, like past clients are amazing, but we don't all have them. And there's also an aspect of converting your SOI, your sphere, friends and family, because that definitely does work. So I've got strategies to try to help shake that. Then also if you have any past clients. So I'm going to start with past stale leads. So I'm going to start with stale leads because most people have access to some sort of a pond or have some sort of a database that has some people in it that have not been worked in a while and maybe gone a little bit more stale. So if you're trying to shake the tree to see what you can fall out, that's a really good spot to go in there and try. So how I do this, I have an old lead activation campaign. Sometimes I build I probably build a new one every year. Originally, when I did this, I built a 1 year campaign. Honestly, you could probably do it within 1 to 6 touch points, depending on how much time you have. So the key to doing a stale lead or an old lead activation campaign is to first put them on a home search. So if you have any data in terms of what they're looking for, hopefully you do, try to, if they're not already on a home search, put them on one so that you start showing up in their inbox again. That way, if you can make contact with them, there's some relevancy that you have there because you've actually been sending them some stuff. So step one, home search. Step two is to actually, Spencer just said Realm. So I would just do this home search because it's an old lead. I wouldn't do it through Matrix or Realm. I would do it through my website, like KV Core. Because you don't want to, if they're not actually looking, I don't want them in that feed, and I try to protect that email as much as I can. I don't want that to get flagged by spam by Google or Outlook if I'm sending out too much stuff that's not getting used. So that's all through whatever database or website you run. So for me, it's KV Core. The next thing is you want to start it with a text, and that text has to say your name. It needs to say, "Hey, this is Andrew," or "Hey, this is Andrew Meyer." The point of doing that in Canada, I'm sure we've all seen it. We all get tons of calls ourselves, and it'll say likely fraud, likely spam. If you don't start it by first addressing who you are via text, the phone doesn't have a chance to actually try to anticipate who you are. You know how sometimes it'll say maybe Andrew Meyer. It says the maybe because in some text or at some point that name was dropped within a conversation, and that'll minimize your chances of being flagged as spam if you're dialing through a CRM or dialer or something like that. So that's the next step, is to actually text them, "Hey, this is Andrew." Now, whatever you want to say, obviously it's an old lead activation. So these are long shots. Don't be scared to say whatever you want. "Hey, this is Andrew. You came through my website a while back looking for a home, following up to see how that's coming along." Something super basic, however you want that to look. Start there just to get your name in there. And then the goal from there is to actually start to get them to know you a little bit more. And then that's when I start to leverage and go more into bomb. So, I mean, essentially just sending out that text message will protect your number if you decide to start calling them again. But I always try to leverage bomb a lot more with those people. I just have a much higher response rate from when I actually send the video. And the video is generally an introduction. Just, acknowledging that they're in my CRM. We have not touched base. What's going on? Are you still looking? It's essentially we're looking for a yes, no, because we're just shaking the trees to see what falls.
Mhm.
Any questions about that before I move on to tactic number 2? All right.
The word
Do you,
bomb
do you
bomb
bomb?
before. Yeah, what's that?
Bomb. So bomb is an integration. It's just a video integration that integrates well with KV Core and a bunch of different platforms. There's other ones out there like Vimeo, Vidyard. Essentially, you can record a video and then just send somebody the link, rather than actually sending them a video where there's a certain amount of data that has to move along with it. So sometimes sending something iPhone to Android can be a problem if you're sending a video if it's not within iMessage. If you send it as a link, it's a lot easier. Some of the better ones will also drop a thumbnail with it so they can actually see that it's a video instead of just a sketchy link. So
Mhm.
BombBomb is just a little bit more efficient at making sure that thumbnails show up.
Awesome.
Yeah,
BOM,
Loom works good too. Loom works well. I use Loom for longer format screen recordings. And I use BombBomb for short. Like I just like the same way that I'm talking to you guys right now, I do a BombBomb video and I would just send that out. I make it a little bit more generic because I might be sending it out to 400 people. So I'm not addressing anyone by name. I just, hey, this is Andrew. You came through my website, blah 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 blah, and I do it that way.
So
Nice.
I can attest that we use BombBombs. I've been using BombBombs since I started in real estate. And it's great for either like if you have smart plans that when people come in, immediately a video goes out. If you can do them personalized, I'd suggest maybe do them personalized. I also use them for offer presentation. So if
Yep.
you haven't
Same.
done that, hey, it's Micah, this is my client, this is why they're great. And, everybody else is doing letters. We're doing BombBombs, and most people are like, holy shit, what is that?
Yeah, I've had 2 deals where the agents came back and said the bomb is what did it.
Yeah.
Andrew also does them post open house then too, right? So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart.
So yeah, as soon as everyone comes through the
Andrew
open
does them
house,
to
I
all
hammer
the
them.
leads that come in post open house.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Nice.
It's good
That's
stuff.
BOM. Just that.
Yeah, BOMB.
Like
Bomb. Look, I don't love typing it into Google. I feel like a terrorist when I do it, so it makes me feel weird, but that's unfortunately what they named it. Yeah.
we get flagged. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's how I feel every time I type it in. Yeah. Okay, tactic number 2. So this is trying to leverage reciprocity. So I have like an SOI reciprocity tactic, and then with some sort of referral ask through a letter. So again, because what we're trying to do here is be able to shake the trees. It's not as targeted in terms of one person, because obviously it's easier to work one person, be more personalized. This is so that we can basically just blast some stuff out there and see what we can get back. So how this would work, I've done this, it works really, really well. The best one that I've done is I take a screenshot of my Starbucks app barcode and I blast that out to a bunch of people. The vast majority don't take it up, but it's I pick a rainy day and I'm like, hey, it's a rainy day, sucks. You haven't talked to you in forever. My little gift to you, go grab a coffee on me. And I just send it. Most people are like, oh wow, thank you so much. Majority don't even do it, so it's not even that expensive. I want to say that $50 is good for like 50 people because just you send it out to them. And it was more the thought. Now what I do is everyone that responds with a positive response, and definitely if they went and got a coffee, I generally send them a letter within a 2-week period. That's it's a referral ask, so it's a personal letter. It's not handwritten. It is it's personal in that I write their name on it, and it's kind of like a newsletter with a referral ask within it. So newsletter being like here's an update. Here's what things are going for. This is what your houses in your area are selling for per square foot. And then I basically I do a referral ask straight up for that. That works. It works well. The idea again is that you sent them something, and there's a small ask within that timed a little bit further out. So that tactic has been pretty fruitful. Another one is an AMA video. So it's an Ask Me Anything video. That script goes same idea. You're reaching out to Sphere, so this can be, you know, um, Uncle Jerry, Aunt Sue. It could be your cousin. It could be a friend. It's really easy. It's basically it's an easy icebreaker to start talking real estate. So an Ask Me Anything video is a simple phone call where you say, "Hey, Uncle Jerry, been a long time. Blah blah blah." Yeah, I'm producing more and more content for real estate. I'm trying to get more ideas all the time. I do this thing called an Ask Me Anything. Yeah, I just thought I'd give you a call because you always have, some good ideas or some fresh thoughts or however you want to structure it. And essentially we ask Uncle Jerry or whoever for some content, and ask me anything. Literally, you're just saying, ask me about real estate. And then you might talk to them a little bit about real estate if you're able to. If they don't have the time, I basically do a bomb video, and you can convert that into like, I haven't done this yet, but you can convert that into, actual content for your social media if you want as well. So essentially, you do an ask me anything. We do it as a bomb. I send it back to them when I've actually created the content and maybe do some more digging on it. Um, yeah, and then you could leverage that more to create social media content as well. So it looks like people are asking you questions and pumping out more stuff. And then for the sake of time here, I'm just going to slide right into the next one here.
Yeah, I like that.
Arrange group discounts. So I've been thinking about this one. I have not done it yet. Sorry, I've done it once. So in the going into the fall, um, I have an HVAC guy and I got a cash deal on it. And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna blast this out to a bunch of people that I know that would also want it. And I basically got everyone a cash deal on HVAC, and I just, did that out of the kindness of my heart. But what it did was it just sparked conversations again. So there was somebody, like, I hadn't chatted with him in 2 years. Now we're talking real estate all the time. He's got a few rental properties, and I can tell you he's probably going to liquidate something or buy something. He's just trying to decide how he wants to move his portfolio right now. And that all came from doing that HVAC one. So that's something I'm putting more effort into, is actually just whenever I need something, like if I'm looking for my lawn to get fertilized or get my lawn sprayed, when I'm calling around to get an idea of who I'm going to use, I'm trying to make it so that I can create leverage there to get more of my clients and people in my sphere of influence discounts that way, so I can try to get a group rate or some sort of group thing. And I just make the connection between the two and just lets them know that I was thinking about them. They feel like they save some money, and I'm the real estate guy, right? So that's just puts me in that zone.
Yeah, and I really like what you said there, Andrew, because a lot of these things that we do, guys, ultimately we're just trying to create, like Andrew said, conversations. Not always are people going to be like, you know what, I want to sell my house. Thank you for sending me that Starbucks gift card. Well, no, we're just trying to create some conversation, build rapport, maybe ask some questions to see where they're at with that. Maybe add some value to them. We've got a bit, we've got some opportunities coming up for some investments, and maybe you can start giving them some off-market opportunities. Who knows where that conversation would and can go, but ultimately that's what we're trying to do: create conversations, see what we can find, and that's a really good way to prospect.
Yeah, so I started doing that because essentially the KPIs, the key performance indicators, are contacts to conversations, conversations to appointments. So when I need more appointments, I just drum up conversations. That's the whole purpose.
Love it. Sweet, man. Thank you for those. Those are all things that we can definitely implement pretty easily into our businesses. Those are great ideas. Anybody have any questions for Andrew, for myself, or just any Q&A? Open it up. We've got a couple minutes left, but anybody have any questions about their business, maybe a specific scenario that we can help with? I can stay later if you need it. Let us know.
Andrew, I'm curious, what are you using to track your KPIs? Is that all within KV Core or?
Yeah, so for conversations, no. My outbound attempts and contact rate, yes. And then conversations, I just have a daily tally. So I created like a morning journal.
Yeah.
And then I have like an evening thing, and I have a breakdown in there with how many conversations I have. So at the end of the month, I can tally the conversations. Everything else I can track within KV Core, except for that one nugget, which I just do in my journal.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Hey,
I
Andrew,
think
what's
from
your conversation goal per day?
Per day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 33. Yeah, but so I include, like, if I can get anyone to say, "How's the market?" I can roll that into a conversation. So that was one thing that I realized, because people say, as soon as people know you're an agent, that's like the question that everyone asks. And I've dropped the ball so many times, like my first year and a half, 2 years on that, where it was like, how do I roll that into more? So,
That's why
I
that's
basically
why I
watched
push.
I watched Brandon, Greg, Mike and people, and I just, they're so polished. I was like, okay, if I, alter ego effect here, if I'm Brandon, how would Brandon do this? And then I would sit there and I would, write different ways, and then I would practice it till it felt second nature.
And you would call Brandon specifically for like words in the
Oh
script.
yeah.
Like he was using
Yeah.
Greg for like the chunk of the script. Okay, that's this is kind of the idea. And then like grinding it down with Towner and like just replacing words. They would talk about that stuff.
There's been times where I've called Towner and I was really proud of what I put together, and I ran it by him and he still made it better. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's good at that. He's excellent at that.
And I was going to say the other part of that of creating those conversations, and this is why I've done this lesson a ton of times with a lot of people, is the having that elevator pitch and knowing what you're going to say when they ask that question every single time, just like you just said, how's the market? What are you saying in that first 30-second response back to that?
So you know what?
And
Here,
that's
I'll give a
Shouldn't
really
be
good.
dog shit.
Pardon
That
me.
shouldn't be the response. I said it shouldn't be dog shit.
Yeah.
no,
So
no.
one of the best ones I haven't done, I haven't passed this one on to Brendan yet because he could probably do it better. But I found that people ask for your business card and trying to pivot to gather their contact info, like when it's in an awkward passing, like you're at the grocery store, you're doing something, and it's like a quick convo, but you have to fly, and you don't have time to dig into it more. And like, oh well, can I have your business card? And obviously they don't have one. I found if you ask them for one, like, oh well, I'll contact you or something like that. That's always what you get. What I've started doing is as soon as they ask for my business card, start right away. I grab my phone, I get it ready. Like I start bringing it out and I say, yeah, for sure. But I would never expect you to do my job of having to follow up. What's your contact info? So I have my card in my hand and I have my phone, and like while I'm saying it, I have my phone ready and I just sit there with my phone ready to go. Yeah, and it's 100% so far in terms of like capturing contacts. Like I set a listing appointment, what was it? What was it two weekends ago? The open house in Fergus. Somebody was walking by. Oh, somebody was walking by. I was taking out the open house sign. I just said, "Hey, afternoon." Said, "Oh, good afternoon." Turned around. How's the market? And like I didn't have time to like really get into it because I had to run to a showing. So like I did a brief convo at it, or like a really brief conversation. He asked for my card. That was the pivot. Got his contact info. Called him that evening. We chatted more about the market. Booked a follow up. And so on and so forth. Yeah.
Love it. Listen, guys, it's 1:02. Appreciate your time. Thank you for jumping on today. We'll see you in a couple weeks. We've got some cool things happening. Mike is going to take the reins in a few weeks, do some good stuff, and then the following one, we're going to have a guest speaker at that one too. Just a local. Anyways, I'll get you some details on that. But we've got a few weeks I have planned. We're in great shape. I hope you found that to be super valuable. Thank you for your time. And of course, we're always here to support your business. What's
Tomorrow,
up?
social hour,
Yeah.
SMB 4 to 6. It's our second ever social hour. I hope to see you guys there. Jill and her team have some social hour pricing for us, which is great. And I got the Aaron to make us a really cool cocktail, which I won't spoil the surprise. So I would love to see you all there. Food, snacks, and celebrate some wins together. So yeah, have a great day, guys.
Love you, man. I'll see you tomorrow. See you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good week.